Hello everyone, I hope you're taking it easy and your day has been great thus far. For this video we'll be going through an unboxing and review of Eevee. And this particular version of Eevee is actually a sitting version of Eevee. And Eevee is from Pokemon, and this particular creative version of Eevee is from the Funko Pop Vinyl range. Particularly the Pop Game subline, this being Pop Vinyl 577, give or take, apparently, maybe, or at least within the Pop Games line, I think. And this Eevee came out in, I believe, tail end of 2019, early 2020, so it's not a new Eevee, at least in the way of release, but given I've started going through the Eevee evolutions, I actually thought I might end up picking up the sitting Eevee. I have the standing, because why not? And I'm kind of glad that I have, because yes, it's actually a bit more different than I was expecting. But we'll see that in a moment. So here is the box for the Eevee Pop Vinyl in Eevee's sitting stance. So the usual front of the box, artwork of Eevee with the clear window of the actual Eevee Pop Vinyl. Side of the box has been slightly crumpled up a little bit. Other side of the box, your standard image of the Pop Vinyl, in which case Eevee in a sitting stance. Top of the box, and the back of the box. So the previous Pop Vinyls I've done for Eevee, which was the standing Eevee and Vaporeon, and a different Pokemon collection included on the back. This one, for at least this particular instance of Eevee, pretty much goes through to some of the starter collecting Pokemon. So we have Pikachu, Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur. No idea if they're all still available, but for me, I was mostly interested in Eevee. So that is a tour of the outside of the box, your run-of-the-mill Pop Vinyl standard size box. So I will open up the box, take Eevee out of the clamshell, and we can have a better look at Eevee. And with Eevee out of the box, now I was hoping to have Eevee lay on their back, but in terms of where their tail is, it actually doesn't work out well. So there is Eevee, but before we get too carried away, we did get a nice little basic backing card for the Pop Vinyl. I think this is the symbol for just the normal type, if I remember correctly. Goes to show how much I don't pay attention, even though I play Pokemon Go every day. But there we have Eevee in front of the emblem. Not too bad. I think Vaporeon had a very more interesting background, so it'll be interesting to see what Jolteon and Flareon look like with theirs in the near future. But yeah, that's basically Eevee in front of the symbol. Putting that to the side, so here we have Eevee in a sitting pose. So in terms of colors, we have, what do we have? The main color for Eevee, which is probably some type of light brown-ish, darker brown in the ears, black for the eyes and the nose, and some of this beige-ish for the little fluffy, furry sections. So in terms of colors, definitely looking pretty spot on for Eevee. So there we have the front of Eevee, side of Eevee, the back, the other side, top down, and bottom up. And yes, there is some random writing on the base of Eevee. Honestly, not too much to be overly worried about. Now, I wasn't expecting it, but Eevee's head can move. So there you go. Eevee, similar to Vaporeon, has a quote-unquote hidden gimmick of being able to do a full 360 with their head. Now I'm going to admit, doing the full 360 like that is quite scary, because yes, that's Exorcist level 360 turning. And much like I say in my Transformer reviews, just because you can do a 360 with your head doesn't mean you really should. Or alternatively, for most other joints. So, putting Eevee's head back into standard position. Overall, the colours are looking good. The general pose is definitely quite nice, so there's not too much to say about that. The ability to turn the head, it's definitely not a bad thing. So this is the standard sitting pose. Doing a bit more of a conservative 45 degree. You can have Eevee looking off to the right. You could do it to the full side, but I think we do start to hit some level of anatomically invalid head positioning, Pokemon or not. Alternatively, you can also do the 45 degree on the other side. Can't really tell what side, if I was to do it on the side, looks better. Vaporeon, oddly enough, did look more interesting with the head facing on an angle. And I feel this particular version of Eevee is probably similar. And I don't know, I actually kind of like the head staring off to the left. But I guess we'll see how things go later down the track. Being a pop vinyl, there's not too much to say about it. It is generally a fixed pose item, with the apparently the odd one that can spin its head 360. Definitely overall quite nice. I'm not sure what's happened here. It's probably just the way that it's been produced, but the tip of the tail and the tail, the separation of the pieces is a little bit more noticeable than I'd like it to be, but it's not too bad. So we've looked at the articulation, colors. I mean, Eevee will definitely sit on their own, not a problem. So that's the sitting Eevee. If I bring across the standing Eevee, who I've now just realized can also rotate their head, I'm pretty sure they're not. I don't know. I don't think they're supposed to. I'm hoping I'm not destroying pop vinyls by doing that, but yes. There we go. Two Eevees together. Interestingly enough, the colors, mainly in the main body, are slightly different. I don't know if I can... Okay, this might be a good way of showing it off. So, standing Eevee, it's probably a shade lighter, but seems a bit flatter with the tone, whilst Eevee sitting, who is on the left, has a bit of a darker tone, but it also has a bit of more of a shiny sheen on it, so quite possibly change in color tones between the numbers. I mean, this was 577, this Eevee was probably 600 something, so it doesn't seem like a huge numerical jump, but it's quite possible they did make some revisions as they went through the Eevee series. That just sounded really weird saying Eevee series, because now I'm suddenly thinking of Ava, which I do actually have as pop vinyls. They'll be done in the future, one day. It is very nice how the Eevees also have a slightly different expression, but at the same time could be just because the sitting one doesn't have the extra paint apps for the mouth. But overall, I'm quite happy to now have 2 different versions of Eevee as a pop final. Sitting, standing, both can move their heads. A little awkward, but that's okay. I'll definitely do some random pictures of Eevees and Vaporeon and stuff like that in the near future as well, so I'll keep an eye out on Instagram. General final thoughts on Sitting Eevee. I'm definitely glad I've retrospectively gone back and picked this up. My original plan actually was, when I grabbed the standing Eevee, I did actually order the sitting Eevee at the same time, but for whatever bizarre reason, they didn't ship it. So, unfortunate. I did get a refund, so that wasn't a major drama, but yes, it was definitely quite weird to only get one, even though I did order both. So it is actually nice to have them both now. I would definitely say, as a fan of Eevee and the Eeveelutions, definitely glad to have this in my collection. Holistically, if you roll that up to any general Pokemon fan, then I would be very surprised if you gave this a miss. Especially given that Eevee's been very lucky to have a few different incarnations, and plus with the release of the Eeveelutions, it's hard to say no. Plus, you can have Eevee moving head around, so why not? So yes, I would say, if you're a fan of Eevee, or Pokemon in general, or whatever other reasons, definitely not a bad version of Eevee to add to the collection. So that brings us to an end of the unboxing and review of the sitting Eevee with the cameo of the standing Eevee. Feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. All of this does help support the channel, and I do greatly appreciate it. There will be more Pokemon pop finals coming up. The original plan was to actually do, it was either Jolteon or Flareon, so actually wasn't expecting to slide in the sitting Eevee, so a bit unexpected, but the other Eeveelutions will be back on schedule for next week. Extra content can also be found on my Instagram account, link below, and as I mentioned earlier, there will be some additional pictures of Eevee and the other Eeveelutions together over there, and I'll also publish some quick little 360 shorts as well, just to spice things up a little bit. Stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in a future video. See ya.